Okay, today we're going to show you how to install the ACC battery cutoff switch in the Prowler, and I'll explain why this is important. A lot of Prowler owners don't drive their car every day. In many ways they're stowed for the winter, and they're just not a commonly used everyday vehicle. And this causes a problem. The electronics in the Prowler, and actually in most all vehicles that has a remote, means that this car's electronics is on. This car is on consistently, standing ready to receive a command from your remote. Manufacturers, compensate or take these things into consideration, and for the most part, you can leave your car in the garage for a month or so. But when you start adding aftermarket security systems or electronics, lighting electronics or on-off switches, all of these components are on and standing ready to receive your command. So what happens is, if you stow your car for the winter or over a long period of time, say a couple of months, it's going to run your battery down dead. Once your battery goes down dead, you're going to lose 25% of its original amperage and power, and that's a pretty significant loss. So we've come up with a kill switch which allows you to disconnect your battery. Just shut the thing down so that when you're ready, take it out for from hibernation and take it to shows or just to enjoy it, you'll have a full power battery. So this is a very easy thing to do. We've come up with a kit that is essentially a cutoff switch. It's bracketed. It's a stainless steel bracket that's going to mount underneath the car. We'll show you how to do that. And it's simple as that. You'll reach underneath the chin and you'll turn the car back on. The worst thing that you'll have to deal with something like this is that you're most likely going to have to reset your radio stations and your clock, which only takes a couple of minutes. And so does this installation. So we'll go right to it. Let's show you how it's done. You could probably do this without taking the grill off, but the grill comes off so easy and it makes things so much easier to install. We're just going to pop it out. It's 5 screws. These 3 on top. And then there's 2 in the middle here, inside the bay. Let's take that one out. And let's take this. And that's it. This grill will now pop out, just like that. Now you have access to your ground cable, and this switch is going to be disconnecting and connecting the ground cable. We're going to leave the positive harness alone. So you'll need a 10mm wrench. Just going to loosen this up. Loosen these guys up. And once you're loose, you can just kind of pull these off. Okay, now we're going to replace this one with this one. It's a longer ground cable, basically the same thing, just a little bit longer. This one's a little heavier. Production models will probably have the same thickness ground. We're just going to thicken it up just to compensate for all the additional electronics. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this back on. Now we're going to supply you with a boot, because we think it's just kind of neat to cover both terminals. So you're just going to slip this in here, just like that, and you're going to run this straight down underneath the car, and then just reconnect this. Okay. it's nice and snug. And then you can just go ahead and take the boot and just cover up your terminal. You see, and that makes a nice, neat, finished unit. Now, what we're gonna do is take the other end of the cable. We're just gonna, again, stick this right down and just locate this at the same place the factory ground cable was grounded. Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm gonna bring this cable, both of these cables, right between your horns. Now, when we do that, that's going to give us the perfect position for our switch. Okay? All right, just like that. Now, we're done on top here, so we're just going to put the grill back in. Okay. Put this back together. And we're doing this because I just want to show you in real time how long this takes. Literally just takes a few minutes. Now, we're going to go underneath, and what we're going to do is the horns are kind of bunched together right where our switch is going to be. So I'm going to show you how to just push those guys over, and your kit's going to come with a couple of zip ties so that you could take the wires that are bunched in there from the horns and kind of zip tie them out of the way. And it really provides the perfect space for our new switch. So come on down here. Okay, so here are the ground cables that we set up for our switch. But if you notice, these two horns are kind of like in the way, and all the wires are in the way. So what we're going to do is just kind of move them out and provide a space for our switch. So that's pretty easy to do. You just want to kind of forcibly kick the horn over. Your bracket will allow you to do that. Okay, and then these wires that are bunched up in there, we're just gonna kind of get those guys out of the way for a second. So we'll just pull the zip tie down here. And zip tie these guys like so. You only need to do two of them. So that's what we'll do. Now, we've created a nice open space for our switch. The switch itself, you'll know when this is on when you turn your switch and you have that tension. That's going to tell you that your car is on, and when you want to shut it off, it'll just just kind of snap open real quick. So you'll pretty much get the hang of that. So now at this point, what we'll do is we'll remove these two bottom bolts, two 10mm bolts. It's going to be our mounting bolts. Let's go ahead and attach switch, our cables, rather. Have this guy here like that. This guy here like that. This one on top like that. Don't forget your lock washer. Don't want this to be coming unloose during your travels. Kind of thumb that on. Gonna need a slightly bigger socket. These, you're gonna want to have these facing up because that's the direction of the cables. Tighten these guys up real good. Gotta make sure these are nice and tight. I mean, you don't want to snap the bolt or anything, but make sure they're tight. You will not be happy if you lose one of these cables as you're driving. So now, just going to tuck your cables up and position the unit. So, then put your bolts back in. Now, we put this in a nice, neat, kind of out of the way position. It's easy to reach. It's not going to be flooded with water, you know, or the elements so much. It's kind of nicely tucked out of the way. We'll just tighten this up. And that's how you put that unit in. Turn the car on, turn the car off. That's going to give you a battery that's going to be ready when you need it.